All right, here we are for the final session of our secondary track of the National Ag in the Classroom virtual conference. And some of you, I think, have been with us all day. So thank you for sticking with us and hopefully learning lots of new things. Some of you might be joining us for the first time for this final session. So I will let you know that this virtual conference is supported or sponsored by the CHS Foundation and BASF. So we thank them for their support. So we can offer this free to all of you to attend and get lots of new ideas for the upcoming school year. I will remind you that the Q&A is where you can ask questions and interact with Tessa, who's our presenter. The chat feature is disabled for this. It's kind of like a webinar style. So the Q&A is where it's at. And please ask those questions. We'll get Tessa to address them as soon and as quickly as possible. And our presenter for this final session is Tessa Matuszak. And Tessa, I was trying to remember when I first met you. Was it like 7 or 8 years ago that you were started working with Nutrien?
2019. So yeah, right before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Tessa started out, I mean, her roots are with this Journey 2050 program. And then she's expanded. Now she's a really valuable member of National Ag in the Classroom, doing all sorts of program pieces with this virtual conference, the in-person conference, and many other things. But I think that I always think of you, Tessa, as the Journey 2050 expert. So the expert is going to share all of those details with us. So Tessa, I'll pass it over to you. And as I said before, attendees, please use that Q&A at any point to ask a question.
Perfect. Thank you, Sue. And I'm going to let you just let me know if there's things in the Q&A because I won't be able to see.
I will definitely do that.
Perfect. Okay, well, let me go ahead and share my screen, friends, and get the right thing up in front of you. Okay. So I am Tessa Matuszak, as Sue mentioned, and I'm going to get to talk about a program that you have already heard a bit about today. So my previous friends that were on here with us today kind of primed you all to dig a little deeper, I hope, into this great program that's available to anyone really worldwide, as long as you have computer access. So again, I'm the program manager for National Agriculture in the Classroom organization. And part of my role is to kind of be hopefully the know-it-all of Journey 2050 for anyone who wants to learn more, whether you are on staff with the Agriculture in the Classroom program, you're an informal educator looking to use this, or a teacher, or even a student with questions. So please jot down my email and feel free to reach out if you ever have any questions, concerns, thoughts, ideas, teacher feedback. We love to hear on Journey 2050, especially. So let's dig into what this program is a little bit. Why has everybody been talking about it, and what can you do with it? I know there's a variety of you on here from all different backgrounds, grades, subject areas that you cover. And so this is a program that I hope really speaks to you, or can be something that you see as a resource for your colleagues on campus, if maybe not your classroom itself. But Journey 2050 is a free program that was designed around this question of how do we sustainably feed a growing population that's supposed to be nearly 10 billion by the year 2050. Looking at that, it's going to cause some pressures on some increase in needs as our population nearly doubles in that time frame. And knowing that as a community grows, we need more food, places to live, resources to just have thriving, healthy communities. So thinking ahead a bit, Nutrien, who is kind of the core developer behind this program, approached National Agriculture in the Classroom and a couple other people in the industry and educators. And everybody sat at the table and said, how can we help inform our future decision makers by putting resources into teachers' hands and in student hands? So Journey 2050 was created with that goal in mind, to really equip the next generations on how to make decisions, make positive changes in their lives and community that would be a positive impact into the greater global community. So it's kind of looking at what we can do as an individual in our own lives, in our own community, but also going beyond into the global picture. It is a free program that is really geared towards grades 6 through 12 in the US. It says on here 7 through 12, and that is because our friends in Canada align it to grades 7 through 12. Nutrien is based in Canada. Their headquarters are in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But here in the US, you'll see the curriculum really aligns easily to grades 6 through 12. I have educators that have told me they use it, parts of it even in fifth grade or fourth grade, or pull some things out for third grade. So there's a lot of opportunity to just kind of dig into it and see what works for you. But the really cool part about it is it's taking what we're trying to teach our students and making it as real life as possible with some virtual gaming and simulation games. So we get to see how our choices are going to really impact this word called sustainability. And what is that word? And what does it mean? And what does that concept look like? And so students are going to learn to make choices throughout their gaming experience that impact what are three main pillars of sustainability we describe in this image of a sustainability barrel. And those three main pillars are your society, environment, and economy. And so you're going to see those fluctuations happen as you play through the game and really understand what makes us quote unquote sustainable. There are real farm families in the farming portion of this game. It's not all farming, but a core of it is to really understand our food and food production and agriculture. Those farm families are from Kenya, India, Canada, and now the US. So there's actually 4 farms built in, 4 real life families digitized into a virtual experience. And they all work with Nutrien. It's a really neat story of how it's all come to be. And then there's going to be some other game interactions, and we'll look at that a little bit more in depth as we go on. But there is sort of a geography, knowledge test, quiz game piece, and then a career avatar. So we're talking about agriculture, food production, sustainability, digging into land use, culture and geography, and careers. So we know that students love to kind of have fun when they're learning, right? And sometimes having an educational game, like we've heard about in the previous presentations, and even just things that are popular right now in the classroom, is a powerful learning tool and a fun way to kind of engage our students in learning in a different way. A really great part of this program is that there is a lot of material. You don't have to use it all. You are welcome to, but there's up to 7 hours of curriculum ready to go for you. So if you are looking at just wanting to dig in deep, you can say, check that box up to 7 hours of already pre-planned activities and curriculum, gamification, or you can even dig deeper. There's lots of other resources we have tied from partners in the program that are just great for extending out learning even longer. Everything's provided. I'll show you a little bit more about that. And really, the first and only big step to this is that teachers are going to go to journey2050.com and create their teacher account. It's free. That is just going to give you an account in the program so that you can have a teacher code linked to you, provided to you, that you can optionally use if you want for a teacher report when students play. So in fact, while you're all listening to me and watching, feel free, if you'd like, to open a browser and poke around and look so you can see it for yourself. You're welcome to, and create your free teacher account while we're talking. Once you get into the program itself at journey2050.com, you'll see that everything lives right there for you. So for every single level, there's 7 core levels. There's going to be a lesson plan provided, a slide deck that is on PowerPoint or Google Slides formats, a short educational video that is 5 minutes or less. It's animated. It's just a neat way to kind of do that opening intro engagement piece for the students to let them know what's the theme of that lesson. There is going to be that game portion I've been mentioning. That is for level 1 through 6. Level 7 was added a few years ago now, but there still has not been a game portion built in there. There is going to be ample enriching activities linked there in that area on the website by the lesson, so that if you wanted to dig deeper and kind of see what else you could do to extend out maybe learning on that theme for a while or digging a little bit deeper, those helpful things are posted there for you. And there's lots of additional resources. So there's actually a resource page of the website, and that is just some kind of vetted, teacher approved resources and other partners you might be interested in that have other educational resources along the same lines that can help you, again, just kind of beef up those subjects you're interested in digging into some more.
Tessa, there is a Q&A question about, it says, can you confirm that that Journey 2050 is compatible with iPads using the browser instead of installing the game on their devices?
Yes, the game itself, yep, you can use an approved web browser, which those are listed on the website. I think it's like Firefox, Google, and Explorer, if my memory serves me right. Whatever old one is not in existence much is not functional, but those are posted right on the website. But yes, you can use iPads, Chromebooks, and I'll talk about the app too. But yes, that will work. So let's see. For those of you maybe wondering, okay, where would this fit for me? I'm a social studies teacher. How does this check some boxes and what I need to be teaching? Our dear friends at NCAL, Andrea, helped us kind of navigate this with her expertise of that grade level band the journey aligns with. Where does this fit curriculum wise, standards wise for these kind of core groups? We have seen Journey 2050 used in obviously like a kind of intro to ag class, or an agriculture educator grabs this pretty easily, but science teachers, social studies, career and tech ed, even family consumer science educators have started to use this a bit more. We have 4-H programs using it, different after school clubs using it, Farm Bureau committees or informal educational programs that want to teach on sustainability or something that's STEM focused, ag focused, are pulling this into kind of their curriculum or educational resources. So there's lots of opportunity, like I mentioned, of how we can integrate it into what your need is. And of course, some of those ways are needing to know the standards and how they're aligned. So these are just a quick screenshot. On journey2050.com, there is a standard alignment search area powered by Edgate, where you can kind of go in there, put where you're located, what you're looking for, how it aligns, and it will populate that for you. And then, as always, on the National Agriculture in the Classroom website, all the curriculum that is there, all the lessons have the standards aligned right there as well, so you can see how that lines up. Now, you can find the Journey 2050 lessons in our matrix, and they're exactly the same as what's on the Journey 2050 website, but it won't have all the additional things linked. And if you don't go over to Journey 2050's website to do your account ever, you won't ever have a teacher code. So depends how you'd like to access and what you want access to, but we encourage you to go to journey2050.com first and start there. Again, this is kind of a snapshot of what might be best for me depending on what I'm teaching. This lives on the website also. This was a request by some educators of just wondering, like, maybe I don't want to do every single lesson. I don't feel like it all apply. What are the most important that would make the most sense? So a great way to talk to your colleagues on campus too, and maybe say to your neighbor next door in family consumer science, hey, these couple lessons might be a great resource for you. All right, so what are the main themes for each of our levels? So level 1 through 4 is all going to really dig into agriculture, farming, getting into understanding that process of planting a seed and harvesting a product at the end, hopefully successfully, unlike my garden outside. But we are going to start out with sort of your introduction to agriculture, sustainability, farming in level 1. In level 2, we dig into nutrients, soil health, plant health. 3, we're going to learn about water, the use of water, conservation of water. And then level 4 is economy and trade. So those are all going to be farming levels. Those are virtually going around to those farming families that are built into the game, and getting to really see that ripple effect of choice as our students make decisions, what happens, and how do we become, quote unquote, the most sustainable by balancing our 3 main pillars. So then we get to level 5, and we are going to see that we are looking at land use, a little bit of geography and cultural impact there. And then level 6 is about careers, and not just careers in ag that we might think of immediately, like, okay, we need our farmer growing the crops, our dairyman with the dairy cow, and maybe our cheesemaker for our cheese plant, but how everyone really can touch agriculture in a career in different ways, or in some level almost be kind of a touching hand in that food production. So we'll dig into that. But they get to do a career avatar, which has been upgraded in the last couple, less than 2 years, to have way more choices and options of customization and diversity. So very fun, and a neat way just to look at some career profiles. Again, level 7 does not have a game yet, but hopefully in the next year or so, we'll see. And that is on technology and innovation. So fun things in ag tech. So how does a student play these games? So the App Store or Google Play is going to have a free app called Journey 2050. There's no ads, there's no fee associated. And so you can grab that app and get it onto the devices in the classroom, or students can play through the web browser through journey2050.com. Okay, so now we're just going to go into a high level overview, a little bit of what each of those core lessons look like. So again, level 1 is kind of our intro level. So it's opening really again with that conversation piece of we are at a point where our population is going to be almost 10 billion by the year 2050, which means we will need double, if not probably likely more, of our food percentage to be increased. And so that's going to put some pressure on agriculture production, our yields, and then how do you control that in a world where things are constantly changing, right? So some things we can't control, like weather. Pests, we can kind of maybe in some ways, but consumer demands, like, oh gosh, those change all the time, right? The newest and the latest and greatest thing is always, there's a new trend. So all those things impact what we need to be growing and producing and what it has to look like and how to do that on a growing population scale with a world that's not necessarily growing more land to use. So to be thoughtful about our intentions and how to navigate those challenges. So I am gonna pop up a video to show you a little bit of that thought. A little more. All right, I believe you all can see this. Sue, can you just confirm that you can see the YouTube screen for me?
I can see that. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna hope this volume sounds great. If not, I apologize. We're gonna just look at this for about a minute.
Tessa, I don't have any volume. I'm not sure if attendees, if you hear it, let us know, but I don't hear anything.
Okay. The Sorry about that, friends. I don't know why it would not be back. Dear. Oh, not sure why that would not just. Well, you know what? We'll just skip it then. If you all are not getting um audio, I don't want to make you all suffer through that. So I apologize. We can I will give you the overview of that then. But you can also watch this at journey2050.com. You can grab the link to the video and I can show you where that lives. Let me just pop back up the video. I'm sorry, the PowerPoint. Okay. So basically, what that was saying is an overview of what I've discussed, but just showing you again what kind of those animated videos look like and how it gives you the high level overview of just what we're talking about in that level. So the sustainability barrel is introduced in level one, and this is important for us to understand kind of how we're describing sustainability. It's a very, detailed topic and has a lot of components to it. But looking at it, that there's three main kind of core factors, and that's also going to serve as the score in the game component itself for level 1 through 4 when the students are farming. So again, we're looking at our economic factors, social and environmental. And then within that, we have these pieces. So profits, jobs, incomes, community is part of our economy. Food, education, health, infrastructure are social factors and implications. And environmental factors are soil health, habitats, water, and greenhouse gases. And what students really learn as they play is that you're really only as successful as your lowest limiting factor. And so we're constantly trying to raise that lowest bar and get a balance. And that doesn't come with maybe producing the most crops to sell to have the most money in the bank, right? Because if we're just producing, but not pouring into perhaps the environment by even replenishing our soil or taking care of our water source, or maybe letting the community around us suffer and not, spending some of our profit in restoring the roads in the community or whatever it may be, those options that do come in the game, we're going to get out of balance. And so we have to look at how do we make this the best balanced community we can, and that will really make us the most successful in the concept of sustainability. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a demo of what that looks like. So we are going to pop over here. So just in case you want to play along, I'd love for you to play along. This is what Journey 2050 looks like. This is the website, journey2050.com. You can go play the game really quickly right here by hitting the play game button. You don't have to register to play, or you can be playing through the app if you want with me. I already hit that, so it was loaded. And I'm going to go ahead and demo level 1 for you. If you open this up, it might ask you for a teacher code. You can go ahead and bypass that right now if you aren't already registered, and don't worry about it. You can just click on through and play. And let me make sure our sound is off. Yeah, okay. All right. So we are going to start with having some help on level 1. We are going to end up in Kenya. And again, level 1 is kind of like our intro. So it has just one farm that we're working on. So we are going to start in Kenya with Shami and his family on his farm. Right. And the Ulus, very cool. They actually, Nutrien got to go visit this family this last summer, 10 years later after this was kind of created, to get a 10-year recap on how things have changed on the farm. So neat. So we are going to start to learn about how to farm and what that means and what it looks like in Kenya. So we're going to have help with him on the first level. Students get to pick different things as they go along. There's going to be a lot more challenges. There's opportunities that pop up, all these things that are happening that make our choices affect our sustainability barrel. So I am watering my crop. You'll see the left-hand side down at the bottom is my barrel, my sustainability barrel, and my score. I'm going to go ahead and harvest. You'll see there's a timer up at the top. This is timed so that the students aren't playing in the classroom for like 30 minutes. There is an option now to turn off the timer because there were some requests for that. So again, teacher feedback is so important because it helps us know what really is going to be most impactful for you in the classroom. So then we get these choices that pop up, and we can see that it has implications to our barrel pillars. So we can see this choice would increase our social and economic pillar. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, even though there's a cost. We get a recap of that ripple effect, if you will. It cost me some money, but I am kind of pouring back into my community and also working on, more land for my own profit eventually. So we are let's see, I have a score of 10. We're getting there. My bank account is in the 8,000s. I am growing a couple crops. You can overwater, underwater. You can make mistakes. As the levels increase, more things start to happen. There's weather issues, there's different opportunities, there's all sorts of things that happen. So it's really fun. And when you get to the multiple farms, it's just a lot going on. So students get competitive. You can do things like break up the class into, different variables they're allowed to do and not do in the different levels to see how things work. And all those things are kind of embedded in the lesson plans as ideas for you. So that was level 1, it goes by fast, but I got a score of 10. My lowest limiting factor was my social pillar. So again, like that's what I'm trying to raise. That all my choices, then I need to start working on how am I making more social choices that are positive and raising that bar. I'm going to get kind of a review of things and see how I did and, just recap on that. I have an option now where I can make a contribution. So this would be great, obviously, for the habitat, right? For my environmental pillar. That's not my lowest, that's actually my highest. So is it going to help me balance? No, not really. Can I do it because I have the money? Yes. Again, this is where kind of those variables come in and choices are being made by students, and it gets competitive because there's so many different options. So I'll go ahead and say yes, because why not? I feel like donating today. And then we continue. So this is new that was implemented within this last year, and this is called the knowledge check question piece of the game. It is one short, simple, either a like a multiple choice, true or false sort of style question that is now plugged into the end of every level to just kind of capture to make sure students are kind of, comprehending what was kind of the main point of that level. And so we're excited about this because not only is this something we believe it will help teachers gauge, but then us as like, professionals in the agricultural field or ag literacy field to just understand how we're doing on comprehension and ensuring that our goals are being met, right? Of educating those future decision makers. So I'll go ahead and pick my answer. So sustainable agriculture is going to be my selection as the practice of producing our food, fiber, and fuel in a way that is profitable to the farmer, supports a healthy quality of life, and protects our natural resources, land, air, and water. And these are things pulled from the lesson plan itself. So it's not like a left field question that's going to assess them in a way that wouldn't make sense. All right, I am going to go ahead and pop this back up. Okay, quick overview then onto level 2. Level 2, again, we are digging in deeper now. So we are going to talk about nutrients. Why do plants need these things? Why is it important to pay attention to these things? And students, when they're playing in level 2, will then get to earn what's called their 4R badge. And it's understanding that there is a right time, place, rate, and source of applying nutrients, applying fertilizer back into the soil, right? Because if plants are taking everything out as they grow, we got to replenish it back in to make sure our soil is healthy. And so the students get to work through that process and kind of understand the differences as they go through playing the game, because they're going to see there's major differences whether you choose to apply fertilizer or not. This is an example of a field trial done in Canada. So we can see that fertilizer was applied with the 4R stewardship in mind on the left and was not on the right. And there's a very big difference there, right? In vibrant color, growth, more flowering. So it does make a difference. This is the options that the students get in level 2. And so we will have the option of no nutrients being applied, a standard practice, kind of middle of the road, and then your best practice that you have if you earn your 4R badge. And so you can see there's a vast difference in cost, $800 versus nothing if you don't want to apply anything. So a student might be concerned over profit, right? But we know that our crop yield is going to be much greater, it looks like, right, from that best practice option versus none. So again, you can break up students and give them designated options. You can see how it goes. It gets very fun in the room. And that nutrient application just looks like this in the game. It's kind of this cool tie-dye effect. Shamey will help you at first know how to do that. And so you apply it to your field that way. So level 1 through 4, again, just to recap, is farming themed. So the students are really going to understand cultivation practices, conservation techniques, and economics through level 1 through 4. And they will start to buy and trade and sell on the market in level 4, and really just continue to see the bigger picture of balancing all those things in this, big point of being sustainable. All right, level 5 is a knowledge check kind of quiz themed level. And so this is going to talk about land use, how our population has changed, over every decade, hundreds of years, how we have this difference of what land was available for us to really build our community on, grow our food on, then versus now. What are we looking at? There's more people, so we take up more space. And then if you all have seen this great resource out of the National Agriculture in the Classroom store, the land use model or Apple model, this is tied into level 5, the activity of either using this or cutting up an apple itself and slicing it piece by piece to really understand what portion of the world, pretending this apple represents our globe. So, our globe, what portion of the globe do we have to grow our food on for direct human consumption right away? It's not the biggest sliver, right? When we look at it, it's our oceans take up the majority of our globe. So we have to be conscious again of our land use and understanding that and why it's important, and kind of making sure our students understand that for when they're making decisions, for their communities someday on how those things take place. So level 6 is careers, and this is a fun one. Students really love this one. Again, there's so many careers that are involved in all of our lives daily of how we get any product from A to Z. Or our journeys in our own career path. But this really goes on the theme of that we all can play a role, or there's a spot for anyone that has an interest and desire to have a role in the future of a sustainable world, or have a place in, the production of anything, an agriculture product, fiber, fuel, food. Flowers, it's all there. Like, there's so many options with your skill set and interest. So, the interest approach activity on this is a fun one of kind of understanding how many people are involved in making one product. So, the example here was cheese given, and you can give the students, break into groups and see who can come up with the biggest list. Or an even fun, more like challenging way to do it that's fun is do categories. I've done that with teachers before, of giving them a letter, and they only have that letter to work with coming up with the jobs. How many people were involved in making cheese? And so you might think to yourself right away, okay, well, there was the dairy farmer that had the cow, right, that had to be milked. And so there was probably somebody that drove the truck that took the milk to the processing plant. And there was somebody that ran the processing plant. And then where does it go from there, right? It goes to maybe a store to be sold, had to get trucked there again, and then you have the store owner, all those things. But then you even back up from just the dairy farmer. Well, how did the dairy farmer purchase the dairy? There might have been a loan officer involved. And what if that dairy cow needed some attention for its health? Well, then there was a vet involved, and all those things. Or who designed the barn? Or who was the ag ed teacher in high school that, found that child's appreciation and love for dairy science and nurtured it into that career? So there's so many things that are tied. And I think it just shows a beautiful picture of there's a place for everyone if that's something they desire to be a part of. And sometimes you don't. I've worked in jobs in the dairy industry where people knew nothing about agriculture, but they have such a beautiful creative skill in design and art, and they were the one producing the labels for the company. And then they found this newfound appreciation and love for agriculture and the dairy industry. So it's so neat how it all comes together. But when you walk through level 6, the game part, and I will show us that if we have time, that is my plan. You get to go through, kind of design your avatar as you wish, and then pick some things that interest you. So what the student likes, or yourself if you want to play, you're welcome to. What subject areas are they most interested in? What activities they like to do? Do they want to work inside or outside? Work alone or with others? And so you go through and kind of select these little options, and it translates into an idea of something that may align with that personality or interest of the student. And so this example is for an equipment sales manager. And then you get to explore those profiles a bit more. And so each career profile that's in here is a real life person that, again, is somehow a friend or works with Nutrien or works for Nutrien, that all tied into, again, a real life profile, real life person, and getting to understand a little bit more about that job. So, how does it help, feed the world? How does that career? What's the education? What's something neat they wanted to share about the job? So that's a great one, and students really enjoy it. And there's so many more careers. There's not endless plugged into the game, but there's so many additional resources mentioned on the Journey 2050 website. We have great partners with the Journey program that also dig into more in careers like National Agriculture Classroom or FFA. So those things are linked into the Journey website as additional resources as well. All right. And then there is oops, I see my slides are out of order. Sorry about that. I was playing with them earlier. Let me go here first. There is a level 7, as I mentioned at the end. It doesn't have a game, but it really is a neat level. And its core theme is really understanding new technologies and the impact of those things into agriculture, explaining how consumer influence changes what we're looking at, trying to understand how to grow, what to grow, why we need to focus on those things, alternative proteins with using bugs instead, like those kind of cool, crazy things. And knowing that it's an ever-changing world in technology and innovation and in agriculture. And so just cool new things that are happening or have started to happen in the last few years, and some that are just still ideas on how can we make this happen. And so back to that last kind of wrap up piece, our take action level, we call it, is kind of a project-based learning wrap up. That's an optional piece there for any educator that wants to use it to kind of just allow the students to take a meaningful project or a meaningful concern to them and turn it into a project. So the hope is that every educator would love to do this and send them to Nutrien, because Nutrien love to see kind of what teachers and their students are working on in their community, and what is a concern to them, and how can we make a realistic solution to have a positive impact and make change in the local community and global sustainability and food system. Another cool piece of this program is there are opportunities to earn $100 credit that can be a donation to a nonprofit. So there's an option for you in your classroom to have some social impact in a positive way of potentially winning one of these by just doing the call out for any teacher feedback and review of the program twice a year. So that's on Journey 2050's website. All right, and what does that website look like? I popped over to it earlier, but you're just going to go to journey2050.com and get started by going to the register button up at the top. These are the 3 browsers we want to stay on: Safari, Firefox, and Chrome. And then you're going to go ahead and log into what a page looks like this. And you're going to see that you now have a teacher code once you have registered. So this green box up at the top shows your teacher code. And that is just a four-letter code that, again, if you'd like the teacher reports that the system will capture for you for your students playing the game, you can provide that to them and it will capture them. If you don't have to, if you don't want to, no problem at all. It's just there for you just in case. Okay, and so if you were wanting to grab them, once you actually have some populated in the system, it would just be right there next to your teacher code. So then opening the game is going to look something like this. You're going to have a space for your teacher code to get plugged in by the student. And then now this is an update within the last, I think it's less than 2 years. Everything blends together yes, it's been in the last year. No student data is ever collected. And so you can, if you'd like to have the codes affiliated with a particular student, just number your students in the classroom and know your assignment so then you can correlate that number to their report. Previously, it did ask for student name, and that was optional, but just to make sure there is no capturing of student data whatsoever, it is now transitioned to assigned student number by the teacher. So what do those reports look like? This is just a quick capture of looking at level 1 through 4. It's going to be compiled of the game results from farming, and then you'll have a report on level 5 and a report on level 6. So when you are ready to go find those lessons, you're just going to log in to journey2050.com into your teacher account, go to the online program. You're going to see that there's options for online program, guest speaker, or field trip. Guest speaker experience is available in limited places in the US and Canada, and that is someone either coming in physically or virtually to the class to go over Journey 2050 lessons as the educator, like on behalf of the educator leading them. Um, and then Calgary Stampede Grounds in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where Nutrient is headquartered, they have a field trip experience every day of the school year where students are bussed in and walk through the entire Journey 2050 program on site at the Stampede Grounds in Journey 2050 classrooms and experiential experiences on site. Very cool, very unique, fun stuff. But online is going to be where you go and grab all the resources. So things are going to just live right here. You will grab your lesson plan right here, your slides, your video. You can link to or download it, a quick link to play the game if you just want to through the web browser. And yeah, everything lives right there for you level by level. You'll see that also under there, as I mentioned, there's so many more options. There's just so many great partners for Journey 2050 that have really created resources that align to those main themes. And often in teacher feedback, they'll want certain, we'll hear of different subjects wanting to be covered or themes. So if we can, we'll find additional things from partners, such as enriching activities. Sometimes those are more of like just maybe a fact sheet or a poster or a more kind of like make and take shorter themed activity that still correlates with that levels main subject. Or you might want to take a deeper dive and go into some maybe lengthier curriculum options. And so you can take a deeper dive by looking at sustainability lessons that are also aligned to those themes. And those link back actually to National Agriculture in the Classrooms resources. So that's, again, just optional options there for you as educators. So the Aggie resources that are built into the website, these are there just to help you dig deeper, add more, learn more. We have the world population counter on there and the arable land counter. You can search through those resources by different sorting features, which have become very helpful. So again, why is this important? Well, we know the disconnection between urban and rural is a real thing. You know, how we all have grown up in the last few decades looks a lot different than the previous 100 years. Not all of us are homesteading or having our farms necessarily still generationally in our families. all in different places across the globe. And so making sure that we can become informed decision makers, as the years continue is just an important reality. We're all on the journey together. We all are one global community, and that positive ripple effect, understanding that each of us can create an impact is so important. And so Journey 2050, I hope you'd agree, is a resource that really does help kind of tackle some of those conversations and questions. And so I just wanted to mention before we close, Journey 2050, the game portion of the program designed for the classroom was so loved by students and teachers on the farming fun of it in that video game piece. Nutrien created what is called Farmers 2050, which you can kind of say it's like the home edition or just like general game edition of farming. And it is, again, it's a free thing you can find in the App Store, Google Play, free app. There's no ads or in-app purchases, and it's still educational. It's like an educational Farmville, if you remember Farmville from a while back. It's still, as you see the scores, those three main pillars of your sustainability barrel. You are on one farm instead of multiple farms like in Journey. Although you do visit other farmers globally, you're still involved with global conversations. You're selling and trading, but you're growing different crops and raising animals on your farm. You customize kind of like your traditional Midwest American farm. There's challenges that arise in the game that you can participate in called global events. Uh, my children, my 7-year-old who can read, he loves playing this because he can figure it out now that he can read, and he'll play every now and then to help me get up to levels to test things. My 5-year-old who can't read yet, she knows enough that she can move her tractor onto the field to harvest things. And so, I mean, they enjoy it, but then I have adults come up to me all the time at conferences and say they wish there was more than 30 levels. So there's only 30 levels, but it will definitely keep you busy for a while. And just as I mentioned, those global events are plugged in there every now and then, usually a bi-weekly or monthly rate, and they are tied to those sustainable development goals that were developed by the UN. So they will always kind of team up with something that is very into the concept of sustainable agriculture and understanding what that means. And sometimes they're tied to real life donations. For those of you that were just at National Conference with us a month ago, we had an event plugged in for raising $1,000 for your local Ag in the Classroom program to highlight agriculture literacy. And so that was tied to a real life donation. And it was fun. Everybody was playing along at conference. So it's just something fun to check out. And for those of you that want to use it in the classroom, educators, I know sometimes will use it as like a bell ringer activity, or if you're going on a field trip, use it as something, educational to do on the drive time, things like that. And just real quick, this program really was, over the last 10 years, has been such a huge collaboration between these organizations. And 4-H USA has also really started to utilize this program too in the last few years, more so. So we have our dear friends all tied in here as well. And we could not have made it so successful without educators using it and providing feedback. So I thank all of you that are on here that will send me feedback, because that is so helpful. And you can actually direct questions to me, or if you ever feel led, Journey 2050 at nutrien.com too. You can send your questions there. But I think that puts us pretty much at time. So I will stop sharing and see if there's any questions. Nobody has any questions.
This is a really fantastic job, Tessa. I've been trying to say, and there hasn't been much interaction. So now's your time, folks. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A, or if you have any stories to share about how you've used Journey 2050 and how it's been successful, or challenges that you've faced and how you've overcome them, I think that would be fun to share. I know it's been, maybe some folks have been with us since 9 o'clock, so maybe their brain's not thinking as well as one point and they're ready for some food and sustenance. I don't know. But Tessa, you did a great job. Every time I hear the presentation about Journey 2050, I get excited to use it all over again. So
Oh,
thanks for sharing. And I don't know. I think we've all experienced struggles with showing videos on Zoom. Even if you practice and have all of the right things, it sometimes doesn't always work. So I feel like in a group of teachers, you're given a lot of grace. I think we've all experienced the same thing. So
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about that, folks, but please go check out the videos. They're super great, short and sweet and helpful. And um, oh, okay. So we have a question. I was not able to get the game to work for my class, but the videos are awesome and lessons are exceptional. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry that the game didn't work. If you want to email me more details, I can see what's going on. Sometimes it is that the firewalls at the schools, like IT level things, have to kind of be addressed at the school. I know there sometimes are those roadblocks, but feel free to email me if there is anything I can be of help with to try to have that fixed. Um, and again, just to recap, I had mentioned this morning after Jessica presented, there are, oh, international. Okay. Um, there are different sources over the last few years that have told us that for the World Food Prize Student Project, many classes have used Journey 2050 as one of those resources to do their projects. So for those of you that enjoyed that first presentation or don't know what I'm talking about and now need to go listen, our morning session, our first session, keep that in mind as Journey could be a helpful resource for that as well. And if there's anyone on here that is a agriculture education teacher using the CASE junior curriculum, a couple years ago, CASE integrated a bit of that. Oh, I think somebody might have mentioned that. Yeah, integrated that into the CASE curriculum. So thank you, Leslie, so that you have been using it and you use it as a sub plan. Yes, we hear that a lot. It's so easy to direct students and the sub to that it's a great, if you're going to be out all week with FFA events, hand it off to the sub. Um, they play the game outside of class. They love making money. I love it. Yeah, right. Learning balance, right? We all think it's profit, but sustainability is a bigger balance than that. Thank you so much for sharing.
well, thank you so much for presenting, Tessa, and for being kind of our question watcher throughout the virtual conference. And thank you to all of you who joined us today. I know summer's a busy time, and we appreciate you spending time with us and being engaged with National Ag in the Classroom and agriculture literacy. Ooh, was there one more question that popped up? Oh, Chris says that she's used it for 5 years and students love it. So there's a great testimonial for Journey 2050. But I just want to thank our sponsors one more time, CHS Foundation and BASF. Thank you for Tessa and all of our presenters. Please watch your emails. You will receive a feedback as well as links. I think Tessa Wright will be sharing links for these
Yes.
virtual sessions. So if you know friends who would like to view them, please share. And with that, we just want to thank you all for joining us and wish you the best for the rest of the summer and a fantastic 2020. Gosh, what are we? 2025, 26 school year. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
So
everyone.
thank you all.